Hi, I'm Paul Haber, Operations Manager for Titan Protection Services, and today, your instructor in this three-part course in report writing. My history in report writing tends back to the military, where I was writing reports and briefings for officers up to 4-star rank. Later, when I joined law enforcement, I had a lieutenant, he became a captain, who insisted that the reports be perfect every time, especially incident reports. We had to have them letter perfect before we could go home. I lost track of how many nights I worked past my shift trying to cross every T, dot every I to satisfy them. I thought it was ridiculous at the time, but I learned. And later when I became a sergeant, I found the best policy was to teach my people the same way. I hope you enjoy this course. I'm sure you'll learn something. Report writing. Training for private security agents. Your task: to properly report all necessary information of events occurring during a security shift. Condition: given events on a security shift, real or simulated, and the formats for daily activity report, information report, incident report. Standard: successfully complete a test and practical exercise at the end of the course with a score of at least 80% on the test and each of the necessary reports, choosing the proper format. Lesson 1 standard: properly set up and use a notebook. Why take notes? The professional security agent, whether patrolling, standing a post, or monitoring communications equipment, makes a pen and a pocket notebook as much a part of the daily uniform as the badge. It is certain that the agent will use the pen and notebook far more than the badge. The notebook is for recording on-the-spot records of observations, events, and incidents. The agent will subsequently include many of these notes in the daily activity report, information report, or incident report. Other notes may just be for the agent's own benefit or interest. Good notes also aid in passing on to the agent's relief, if any, pertinent events of the shift. Uses of notes. Agent's notebook is useful for recording the following: unusual or suspicious persons, vehicles, and other things observed during the duty tour. Descriptions of events while they're still fresh in the agent's memory. Reminders of duties that must be performed by the agent at certain times and places. Facts that must be written, typed, or transcribed onto the necessary report or form. Observations at the scene of any crime or incident that the agent may become involved with during the tour of duty. And finally, as a witness in a court of law, the agent does not usually have direct access to the actual report of the incident, but can refer to his or her notes to correctly answer questions put to him by the prosecutor or defense attorney. Experience shows the importance of notes. Without notes, the agent leaves matters to memory. This can create problems. Consider the actual courtroom scenario taken from a criminal case witnessed in Arizona. Attorney: tell us, Officer Jones, when did you first see the defendant on the premises? Officer: well, let me see. It was the 1st, no, make that the 3rd of March. Or was it April? That's it, April. April, the 3rd of April. He was walking toward the administration building. He was coming from the administration. Attorney: come now, officer, which was it? The 1st or the 3rd? Was it March or April? I submit you can't even be certain what month this alleged confrontation took place. How can the jury believe any of your testimony? The officer was obviously very confused. In such a situation, without notes, an agent's testimony could easily be discredited. In the above case, the officer looked like a fool, and the defendant was acquitted. With notes, there might have been a different result. An important note: even though with our current technology, it's common to write reports, notes, and the like on a phone or other device, these are frequently banned from courtrooms. Always keep a copy of your notes in a handwritten or typed form. How to prepare a notebook. The first item to consider is the size of the notebook. While the small spiral notebook in the upper left is the least expensive, there are several negatives about this type. Because of its size, it cannot hold as many notes and is more difficult to write detailed descriptions or sketches. The pages tear out easily, and the cover is not durable. The notebook will not last long. The ease in removing its pages is also a negative, as explained below. Other notebooks are easier to format, giving a more professional look. Many security personnel, especially those in vehicular patrol, use a stenographer's notebook, a legal pad with a clipboard, 3-ring binder, or a journaling notebook not shown here, or something of that sort. The benefit of this type is that the larger size facilitates a greater number of notes and has room on the pages for sketches. Each of these have negatives, however. Pages can be removed from all of the first 3, which makes it difficult to prove the completeness of the book. A good defense attorney will be quick to point out that the pages containing important evidence could be removed, thereby degrading the value of the notes. While the 3-ring binder usually has a more durable cover, this is not true of the stenographer's notebook or the legal pad. At best, they have the same type of paper cover found on the smaller spiral notebooks. The journaling notebook does not have the drawbacks of the spiral, 3-ring, or legal pad types. They are tightly bound, and it is difficult to remove pages without leaving evidence. The one drawback remaining, however, is the size. While suitable for inside a vehicle or at a desk, they're unwieldy for an agent on foot patrol. Many police and security officers use a notebook that, while larger than the spiral type, is still small enough to fit in the pocket of tactical pants or a jacket. See the one on the right. These commonly have a durable cover, leather, plastic, or nylon, into which the paper portion of the notebook is inserted. A typical cover is about 7 inches long and 4 inches wide, with the paper inserted inside a fraction smaller. And the paper usually has around 80 pages. Whichever type of notebook is chosen, it should be prepared properly. Either on the cover or inside it should be the agent's name, badge number if any, phone number, date the notes began, and the date they ended at the end of its use, and your company, department. Next, number each page in the notebook. This helps offset the drawbacks in some notebooks mentioned previously, except of course loose leaf pages, which are still suspect. For each day's entry should contain the date, duty post, and location. Each item entry should contain the time and activity being reported. Remember, your notebook could become a legal document should you be called to use it in court. In that instance, here's a couple of tips. Isolate the pages pertinent to the case at hand by using a rubber band to secure any other pages from observation. This way, only the exposed pages may be entered into evidence, rather than the entire notebook. This eliminates the possibility of the defense attorney accidentally dropping it and while picking it up, discovering some item that might tend to discredit your testimony, such as the name and phone number of the attractive server you met in a restaurant. Incidentally, that type of information should never be written in your patrol notebook. Only work-related information in the notebook, please. If in court, you need to refer to your notebook, state what you're doing and why. You're refreshing your memory, reminding yourself of exact details, and so on. How to record notes properly. It's not useful to simply jot down random notes, thoughts, facts willy-nilly. Essential items of information must be included if notes are to be complete. Here's a guideline for what good notes contain. The date, time, and place of the occurrence. Example, February 5th, 2022, or you could write it 2/5/22. 1713 hours, Westgate, 7th Street, entrance post. Next, detailed description of the event or incident. An example, a 2019 green Dodge pickup, license number LKJ124, Oregon, struck a light post on the south side of the entrance gate. Fence post was slightly bent. The truck grill was damaged, and the driver was seated in open doorway of the truck cab, apparently dazed from a bump on the head during collision. Specific identification of any person who contributed information. Example, Mrs. Felicia Adams, bookkeeper, accounting department, employee number NUR0821, plant phone number extension 234. What this person had to do with the incident. For example, was she the only witness to the accident? Does she appear calm and positive in what she saw? Was she the perpetrator? What happened, or what was reported to the agent? For example, Mrs. Adams reported that at approximately 5 p.m., her estimate, she left the plant after working past the end of her normal shift. She was walking to her car in the employee parking lot when she observed the pickup truck swerving up over the curb on Highway 115 outside the plant property. The truck was proceeding north to south. Truck crossed open gate entrance and impacted forcibly with the fence post on the south side of the gate. Mrs. Adams went to see if the driver was all right. He dismounted from the truck by himself but appeared shaken and unsteady. He was obliged to sit down. Mrs. Adams did not have her cell phone, so she returned to the plant and called security. Next, what actions the agent took. For example, I looked at the driver and saw no evidence of contusion, fractures, or lacerations. Concussion is possible, however. I used my cell phone and telephoned the police and ambulance, then returned to wait with the truck driver. Official personnel that the agent was in contact with. For example, the police arrived. I notified Officer Smith, badge number 7715, of what had happened. I gave him the name of Mrs. Adams as witness and asked how I and other security personnel might be of assistance. When the agent actually transferred the note to a report. For example, on completion of my duties at the scene, I went back to the security headquarters and typed my notes onto the incident report. 2/5/2022. Note, while abbreviations should not be used in the actual report, they are permissible in our personal notes, which are for your use only. However, the notes must be legible, and you must be able to fill in the blanks so that you can recite the report with total accuracy. When in doubt, write the notes in full, as in the example. Also, include a sketch or photograph of the scene if it's appropriate. With our common smartphones, we always have the opportunity to take a photograph that can be included in the report. Include any other details the agent feels are necessary to complete recounting of the incident. One last word about the notebook. Save it. How long? A friend was called into court on a case which had happened 10 years prior. The prosecutor requested the agent produce his notes because some other evidence had been lost. The experienced security agent was in the habit of keeping notes for 10 years and fortunately had not yet discarded that particular notebook, which he located by the date on the cover. Please note, this gives another reason to use a durable notebook. Let's take a look at this slide, and it tells you how to submit your answers to your quizzes. In order to complete the quizzes, the final examination for this course, first, open a Word document and rename it immediately. Otherwise, it will save itself and it will say template instead of DAR such and such a post and so on. Type your answers on the Word document and save it. Attach the document to the email and send it to the operations manager and to the CEO. Please note, each quiz and the final exam for this course is each worth 10 points for a total of 30 for the course. Other courses will also be added points. Other courses will also be awarded points. When you reach 100 points, you will receive a $25 bonus. Here are your quiz questions. You may stop the video at any time, write these down, or answer the test. That will complete Lesson 1.